welcome back. Part 2 here, live on a Thursday night on Sheffield Live TV. Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper Cameron Miles Dawson is our special guest.
Full name.
Middle name.
Yeah, middle name as well. I just had to use that when I saw that. So
you didn't tell me you were going there.
I knew That's a good one. No, I didn't. No, you've got plenty of distance from this guest this evening. James Gregg, our box-to-box midfielder. He's covering everything.
I was blowing walking in tonight, wasn't I? You made a comment.
Very out of breath walking up those stairs. Very out of breath.
3 flights of stairs.
I don't think Fleck or Bannon need to be worried at any point.
You always tell me, by the way, what a supreme athlete and professional this guy is, because you know him.
Yeah. We know each other pretty well,
And when the subject of a post-show pint came up, it was struck from the agenda.
It was, very disappointing actually, but fair enough.
Big game Saturday, big game.
Exactly. Next Saturday. I know. I'm not going to try and be a bad influence.
I can't be sat there on a Thursday drinking pints with you chaps. I'm sorry, but I just can't be.
What he means is he can't be seen.
That's not what he means.
Look, we have had footballers from this city who have enjoyed.
Who shall remain nameless, Alan.
Yeah, on a Thursday night as well.
Yeah, we have.
We have. Okay. Look, we promised a bit lighter this half, but more Sheffield Wednesday topics here with Cameron. We did promise he'd be very disappointed if we didn't look more closely at the events of November the 9th.
I've been trying to get it in all the first part of the show, and you just weren't letting me.
Okay, a couple of pictures from Derby night. The Wednesday hero of a goalless draw saves a penalty from David McGoldrick. Here's post-penalty image 1 coming up. There we are. Now, spontaneous congratulation there. Just tell us how you're feeling just there. Barry Bannon leading the congratulations. They all look a bit shocked, actually.
Cheers, lads.
Yeah.
I think Foxy planted a big kiss on my forehead.
Nice. Right.
Remember that one? And I don't know what Baz is doing, but he's had it. It's a bit of a blur, to be honest. I can't really recall much from that moment.
Well, let's have a look at image 2. Now look at that face. I mean, he looks. Just sum up that face, James. He looks like stunned. Like, did I really do that?
That's awesome. That's awesome, because as well you've got like a few thousand Wednesday fans behind the goal going absolutely berserk at that point as well, I'd imagine. So it was good. It was in front of all the Wednesday fans as well, Cam, wasn't it?
You look totally blank there. I mean, it's almost as if somebody's told you, "Are you going to be dropped on Saturday?" That face.
A little bit.
What is that?
That's the programmed mind to say, like, right, you saved the penalty, but just relax. Nothing too much. You don't be giving it big fist pumps in front of the crowd.
There's still a corner to come.
Could concede from the corner here.
There was a long way to go at that point, and with your team, with the bus parked in front of you, across the goal there, you held out for your point. You had a couple more saves to make. The feeling at the whistle, knowing that moment had, produced a result, as we call it.
Yeah, it was. I'd say it was a feeling of relief, and just really glad it had come in that game. And whatever you say about results, I think a few of their lads came out and said, look the way they've celebrated a point. It shows how far they've come as Sheffield United, which they have, because most teams going to Bramall Lane this year would be very happy taking a point, and we were no different to that. So it was a good point for us at the time. We'd have liked to have won, of course we would, for the fans, but it was a good point for us at Bramall Lane.
No question. It's horses for courses, really. It doesn't represent the way that my perception of the way Sheffield Wednesday have tried to play this season. My perception is that the manager, though he gets booted and criticised for every little thing he does, and okay, in my opinion, he's made too many changes to whatever. I won't ask you about that, it's not fair, but it does appear to have selected, to me, attacking lineups.
Yeah, I'd say he has, but equal to that, we were conceding a lot of goals. So I think for that game in particular, he had to change it, because if we'd have gone 2-0 down in that game, and the Bramall Lane crowd had got up, it could have ended bad. So that game was more. That was a one-off in that sense, wasn't it? Yeah, it was more stay in the game, hang in there, and we didn't go in there for the draw. We wanted to win the game, of course we did. But it was more of a hang in there, soak the pressure up, and can we go on the counter attack and hit them with one? Which we tried to. We had a couple of couple of half chances, but you know, nothing major in the end.
Possibly the best chance of the game, I think. Morgan Fox.
Yeah, from the corner.
Yeah.
Possibly.
More than one way to skin a cat, though, isn't there?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's not. We'd played a lot of pretty football before that, and you know, we'd gone into that game on a tough run. So mix it up a bit, you know, go back to the good old-fashioned British way, and that's what we did, and you know, we got the point in the end.
Yeah. Well, moving on. You know, I'm looking at your role models as a goalkeeper when you were growing up. Who, if anybody, you model yourself on? Is there anybody?
Yeah, I'd say when I was, you know, starting off as a young goalkeeper at Sheffield Wednesday, like 16, 17, 18, it was really when Joe Hart was at the peak of his career, you know, playing for Man City in England. And he's had a lot of stick recently, Joe Hart, and at that point in his career, his peak, I'd say he was genuinely he was a world-class goalkeeper. You know, he wasn't. He's had criticism, and I think people have almost questioned his ability. Now, for me, you can't question someone's ability who's performed on world level like he has. You know, he had a tough spell, and you know, he paid for it, losing his place in the England World Cup squad and the Man City team. But you look at him now at Burnley rebuilding, and yeah, he's doing. You know, he's really back on track again and going again.
He fell foul of that whole sort of sweeper-keeper thing, didn't he, as well? You know, like, oh, you've got to play it out from the back. There's been a lot made this week of Edison, who sort of played that no-look pass, didn't he, when he was under pressure as a goalkeeper. Is that something you would ever try and adapt to, or what? You know,
I don't think I'd be trying the no-look pass, James. But you know, I think for Joe Hart, like Joe Hart's not bad with his feet. He's just not Edison. And that's the key there. And like for someone like Joe Hart, you know, he's a very good British-style goalkeeper. And now us as British goalkeepers, with, you know, looking at people like Joe Hart, and you look at Jordan Pickford now, he's really the first one that's tried to adapt to that, you know, to that sort of continental way of goalkeeping in terms of sweeping up, playing everything out from the back, and he's sort of the first one there. So, you know, to look at that, that's looking like it's going to be the mould now in terms of goalkeeping going forward. And
it's certainly been a requisite of your role within Jos Lukai's plans at Sheffield Wednesday, isn't it? He's quite big on that.
Yeah, you know, we tried to play, you know, play with the ball on the floor and play through the thirds and work it out from the back when we can. So that's been something we've tried to do, and you know, recently we've maybe gone a bit more direct, but you know, we still try and play football in the right areas. One
thing I've noticed, you're two-footed, really. I mean, you've got a strong foot, either foot. Is that something over the years that you've worked on?
Yeah, I think I didn't start off as a goalkeeper till late. You know, I was 13, I think, before I went in goal.
Really? What position did you play before then?
Well, I started off as a striker, and then as I started getting older and older, I worked.
Solution?
Yeah. Oh, it's far from that. I started working my way back, ended up as a defender, and then, you know, it was natural then to step back into the goal. So yeah, that left-footedness maybe comes from, you know, my younger days when I was more of an outfield player and had to kick it with both feet.
Yeah, it's noticeable that you can and get, you know, distance when required. You work with Nicky Weaver, presumably most of the time, who's been on our show here. A big, very likeable character. How'd you get on, and how big an influence is he?
Yeah, Weaver's been great for me. He's you know, he's been excellent. When I came into the club as an apprentice, Weaves was the number one at the time. So he looked after me then as an apprentice when he was the number one, and then, you know, he got the academy job, and then recently stepped up to the first team role. And yeah, it's been great learning off him. You know, a different voice and something a bit different. And it's been, you know, for me, you just try and take things out of people. You know, take things that you like. It's important to still have your own mind and your own way of doing things, but just take what you like out of other people, and you know, that's what Weaves tries to give us.
How much of a voice do you try to be out there? How voluble are you?
Yeah, I'm you know, in the changing room, I'll make myself heard when it's the right time. I'm not one to hold the dressing room all the time. You know, there's some big characters, big personalities in there, but equally you'll not see me, you know, sat in the corner and just not speaking to anyone.
But on the field.
On the field, yeah, I like to bellow for 90 minutes, and I don't think they listen to me much, but I don't think many outfield players listen to goalies, but it doesn't stop me.
Goalkeepers always seem to me to dish out world-class rollickings on the field when a defender makes a mistake in front of them.
Yeah, because defenders just don't have that. As much as even it's worse when midfielders and attackers end up on the edge of the box defending because they just don't have that defensive instinct, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world when you're trying to keep it out of that net and you've got midfielders and attackers messing about with it on the edge of your box. Yeah,
but not in those words.
Yeah, not quite in those words, but get out the way.
And as you get more confident, the longer you are first team goalkeeper, do you become more assertive the longer you're there?
I think you learn, don't you? You're still learning, of course you are. So you learn different ways of communicating with people, and the more you play with someone as well, you get that what's the word I'm looking for here? You get that sort of partnership, understanding between each other, and you sort of build that, and you know what you're getting from them, and they know what to expect from you.
Is there anything in particular that you'd regard as something that you have to work on particularly in your game?
For me, it's just about growing into the role and growing into yourself, and just building every part of your game. The way I look at it is I try to be a good all-rounder. Just quite solid at everything, and as you go further and further, for me it's just about sharpening all those areas up and getting, really maximising every part of your game, and that's about learning about yourself as well, learning sort of what you need to do, and that's the case for me.
How about the area of command of an area and how you go about that command of an area? Because one of the criticisms I've heard, well, he doesn't sometimes come for crosses, or he punches rather than catches. And I've had this conversation with a number of goalkeepers here who talk about the way that the ball moves around far more now.
Yep,
so, where do you stand on that punching, catching thing?
That part of goalkeeping is the toughest part of goalkeeping. It's because you've got, someone can hit a shot at you and you save the shot. You either catch it or you parry it. You come for crosses, you've got the flight of the ball, you've got the bodies around you, you've got catch, punch, you've got that many decisions to make in one. Yeah. So it's the hardest aspect of goalkeeping, I'd say. And I'd also say that if you do get it wrong, there's no one defending the cage behind you, so it often ends in a goal. It's that split-second judgment. It has to be right. If you're coming, you've got to get it, haven't you? Yeah, and of course now in this, people tell you about the modern-day ball and how much it moves around, and it does, and that's not making excuses. That's just how it is, and that split-second decision has to be the right one. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You mentioned earlier, Cam, about there's big characters in the dressing room. Who were they? Which ones are they?
Your older players that have sort of been there, done it. Your Stephen Fletchers, your Barry Bannons, people like that can, that almost have everyone's respect without doing anything, just through their careers. And that's sort of how it works in a football dressing room. That have been, the older players that have sort of been there, done it. They sort of hold the fort, and they're important players, particularly at the moment in a time like this, aren't they? Definitely. Baz, first bit of the season, Baz was excellent, and we'll be looking to get back to that and get us back to winning ways. But he's definitely one of our most important players. Real blow today, hearing that Fernando Forestieri, according to Dom Howson in the Sheffield Star, could be out for about 6 weeks. Take him to the new year. That's a blow for you. Yeah, I don't know anything about timeframes, but obviously he came off on Saturday with a hamstring injury. So if it's 6 weeks, then it's it's going to be 6 weeks. But Nando's a supremely talented footballer. What he can do with a football is just out of this world sometimes when you see things. So that's going to be a loss for us, but we'll take it and go with it and try and pick up some wins. He can be a game changer, and it's I think that's a real blow to have him out. Sheffield United are at Reading this weekend, who sacked their manager today, and that's, it's never a good time for the next team to face a team. No,
of course it isn't, because there's that bounce, isn't there? There's that kind of, and the players, the shackles might be off in a sense, in terms of, they might be able to play with a bit more freedom. Whoever comes in as the caretaker might have just spotted exactly what's needed to change. So yeah, it's not a good time for them. Yeah, absolutely not. Do you want me to start the roundup next? All right, we'll start with a bit of basketball. Actually, we're going to do it sort of back to front this week. Coach of the month, Atiba Lions, Sheffield Sharks. He takes his side on the short journey to the current champions of the BBL, the Leicester Riders. First game of December. They'll be hoping to avoid that curse of the award of the coach of the month, because always, as with anything, you get coach of the month, player of the month in any sport, and all of a sudden you go on a bit of a stinking run, don't you? So of course, Sharks were 4 from 4 in November. Excellent stuff from them. The Steelers, not a good time to be a Steeler at all. Mr. Barrasso was scathing in his criticism of their defeat last night. They lost 5-2 against the Dundee Stars.
What did he say?
Sorry, against Glasgow Clan. He said that it's the whole team's ethos needs a shake-up. Right. Yeah, not good. He said they were bad in training as well the day before. So they've got Dundee Stars on Sunday, and they actually beat the league leaders, the Belfast Giants, last night as well, 6-4. So another tough game. They had, they were sort of clawing themselves out of a hole, but yeah, tough one for them on Sunday. To Rugby Union, Sheffield Rugby Club, 5 wins in a row now. They smashed Siston 52 points to 0 last week. Tigers as well in National 2. They lost narrowly by a converted try last weekend. They've got Peterborough Lions this weekend away from home. Now, a team who are flying in non-league football, we talked about them last week, Hallam FC, 13 unbeaten in the league. They've got just outside the playoffs, they've got 5 games in hand on some of the teams above them due to sort of waterlogged pitches and their little run that they had in the FA Vars. So they've got Armthorpe away on Saturday, 3 p.m. And 3 p.m. Saturday is also when Sheffield Club are in action as well against Brighouse at the Coach and Horses in Dronfield. Mentioned Fort Stocksbridge as well. We've got Ossett United after their 1-1 draw against Spalding last weekend. Big opportunity last night for Carla Ward's Sheffield United women. They played against Man City. You may have seen all over the national news as well. They were struggling to get a team out, bizarrely, because they had 7 players who just simply couldn't make the 7 o'clock kickoff midweek of the League Cup. So they were playing against Man City, of course, forced in all football, men's, women's, whatever. And they lost 6-0. But Carla, actually, who is usually pretty critical after a loss, was very pleased, very proud of her side. So well done to them. They've got Villa on Sunday away. Of course, they beat them 4-1 earlier on in the season. Blades sucker punched by Leeds, and of course, as we've already mentioned, they play against managerless Reading in the late game on Saturday, and Cam Rotherham at Hillsborough. I know you talked about it in the first half, but a win, a clean sheet, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. 3-0, 4-0 would be nice, but no, Rotherham have been doing great, so it'll be. They've
been plucky, haven't they? The lack of resources and all that, and
they've got some quality as well, though. To be fair, so now they're doing really well.
Michael Smith's a hell of a player up front. Ajayi centre back, 1 or 2 others. Paul Warren, the manager.
Yeah, Will Volks as well. They've got a good core of the team.
Yeah, good team. As well.
Do you know any of the lads there?
I know. Obviously, Joe was at Wednesday for a bit, so I know Joe Matic. I did a bit of did some sort of appearance with Will Volk, so I've come across him before.
I saw that,
We'll not talk about that. We'll not talk about.
Weren't you singing or something daft like that? What was it?
Yeah, it was for Bluebell Wood. It was it was a really good chord.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, me and Joe ended up on stage dancing around to Christmas songs or something. It's terrible. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Oh right, all the viewers, you know where to
There's the invitation.
Snapping away now.
So let's hope on Saturday you're leaning against the goalpost, smoking a cigar or something like that.
A nice quiet one would be nice, Alan. I don't think I'm a cigar man, but a nice quiet one would be nice.
Atmosphere will be good as well. South Yorkshire derby. I know. When Blades played them a few weeks ago at the New York Stadium, they were saying, "Oh, it's not really a proper derby." Well, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very close. Geographically, it's a derby, so it'd be a good game. Hopefully, the atmosphere's good, and
there's not many points in it either.
No, it's
there's not many points in it.
No, just make it a bit bigger for us, Alan. Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you say? I mean, I don't know how aware players are and whether they talk about it. The pressure that's on the manager, the speculation about the manager. Are players aware of that particularly, or I suppose you can't avoid it really?
When it's talked about in the press, and you struggle to avoid it, but we're a team. As players, you're professionals, and you have a job to do, and come Saturday afternoon, that's what we'll be trying to do. That's the real time as a footballer when you get judged, and and lads I know, especially in our dressing room, you know, you don't like losing. It's not nice. So
he's there taking all the flack. Do you feel as players that you owe him?
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously he's the manager, he's the front of it, but us as players haven't been good enough. And there, you know, that's been there for everyone to see. So yeah, we owe a big performance on Saturday.
As you say, James, you know, I think a local derby, the atmosphere it brings, can actually help, because without making excuses, that game against Bolton, with very few away fans there, on a night when it was pouring with rain, it was such a depressing backdrop, wasn't it?
I was delighted with the 1-0 win on it.
Yeah. Well, depressing for him, the clean sheet on the board.
I know, but you know, there was very little atmosphere. A local derby injects something into it, which spurs both teams. I always think.
Of course. And you look at, you know, the derby game at Hillsborough before was a really good performance, where, you know, unfortunately we lost, but that was a bit of a livelier game. The atmosphere was a lot livelier, and it was a much better performance.
That can get, when a team's on a bad run, generally the fact that it was a good performance can get lost in the analysis.
Yeah, but
and
you know,
I agree with you.
It was that. You know, we were very unfortunate that day.
Yeah. Miles then. I don't very often mention on this show.
I didn't even know that was his middle name. I should have.
Guess middle names don't usually get mentioned. But
haven't you got?
Edward, mine is
very royal.
And mine's boring. It's just John. But when I looked at your
AJ Biggs.
When I looked at your Wikipedia page today, I wondered if somebody was having a bit of mischief with it when I saw Cameron Miles.
God, my mum will be delighted you've said that. She wanted to call me it.
Did she? So you could have been Miles.
Could have been Miles, but no, thankfully not.
Brilliant, love that.
Okay.
Should have looked at that on the passport.
Well, I think it's a good choice, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
I think it's a good choice.
No, it's not the best.
You grew up as an owl, presumably.
Yeah. No, I was was in the stands there as a kid. I'd season tickets a few years on the south, and then when I got a bit older and wanted to get a bit more into it, I went on the Cop and started singing away with a band in there. So
it doesn't seem that long ago since you were actually going. Like, you know, like going as a fan.
Time flies, doesn't it? You know.
Which keepers did you watch in those days? And
I watched a few. It went through a period where we had lots of lone goalkeepers, like Scott Carson and all that, and then
he's still playing.
Then it was obviously David Lucas with the 2005 playoff final, and then you know, after that, you know, I think it was a couple more loans, and then
Weaves,
and then
Kirkland.
It was the Weaves, Bywater, Kirkland.
Did you ever shout at any of them?
Who?
You?
No, never. They were all excellent, you know. Tough job goalkeeping, tough job. They were all very good.
But you're seeing it from another perspective. You've stood there behind the goal where those fans are. And now you're out front in front.
Yeah, of course. You know, that's where I know where the fans come from when they get frustrated, because it is frustrating.
It's nice to escape to the edge of the area when the team's at the other end of the field, I would think. Get as far away
a little
as
walk up, get away from them now. But it's all good.
Yeah, you've emerged unscathed with a clean sheet tonight. A clean sheet in the studio this evening, Cameron.
Hopefully another one on Saturday.
There's 38 seconds to go, so just he's definitely fit despite that dislocated finger, which is taped up now. A little thing like that's not going to keep him
more than that, James.
I think so. Yeah,
but it's been absolutely brilliant chatting to you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And keep fronting up as you do on and off the pitch, because that's a credit to you and the football club.
Absolutely.
James, thanks very much indeed. We're back next week with a Sheffield United star player. Big star from Sheffield United next week on the show, as big as Cameron Dawson even. Cameron, thanks very much indeed. Pleasure. This is repeated at 11 p.m. if you missed. It'll also be on my YouTube channel. Thanks for your company. See you next week. Bye-bye. Bye.